All right, buckle up, because today we are diving into a story that's really, really blown up online.
Yeah, this one's got everything.
It does, it does. We're talking about Dalgeun Yu,
Hmm.
former South Korean Navy SEAL,
Okay.
and an American streamer who goes by Johnny Somali.
Oh, yeah, I've seen the...
You've seen some of the stuff going around, right?
Yeah, it's all over the place, and honestly, it's kind of hard to unpack what exactly is going on.
Well, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
This whole thing, their confrontation. It sparked this huge debate.
And for good reason.
So we're going to break down exactly why it's become such a flashpoint.
Mhm.
What are the different layers to this?
It really does seem to touch on, well, a lot of things that are really relevant right now. Like, how do we think about cultural differences, Especially online, where everything just spreads so fast.
It's like the world is getting smaller, but also maybe more complicated at the same time.
Right, exactly. It's not just about a fight, Yeah, there's a physical altercation, but this whole thing is like a clash of values and perceptions, and I think that's why it's resonating with so many people.
100%. So, okay, let's start with Dalgeun Yu, because his background, it's kind of crucial here. This isn't just any guy who was in the military. We're talking former South Korean underwater demolition team.
UDT, yeah.
Like, that's serious stuff, like intense training.
You don't make it through something like that without a deep sense of, like, patriotism and commitment.
Exactly. Like discipline, loyalty to your country, all of that. So then you have Johnny Somali, American streamer.
I know he's gotten famous for doing these, what do you even call them? Like these stunts, I guess.
Yeah. And a lot of them, well, they're provocative, to put it mildly.
To say the least.
Especially the stuff he does in Asian countries. And to add to the whole thing, nobody even knows his real name.
It's true. That adds to the mystery, right? Like, who is this guy?
It's all part of the persona he's created. But in this case, what he did, it went way beyond just being provocative. So Somali is alleged to have desecrated a monument.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
Like a monument?
Yeah, one dedicated to the victims of Japan's wartime sexual slavery.
Wow, okay.
And this is, it's a really sensitive historical issue in South Korea, obviously.
It's huge. It's a wound that hasn't healed. For a lot of people, this is not just history. It's still very much present.
Totally. So you have to understand, this isn't just a statue or a plaque.
Mm-hmm.
It represents generations of pain, injustice.
Absolutely.
So to see it treated disrespectfully, especially by someone who's not even from there.
Yeah, you can see why that would cause a strong reaction. Like, imagine something that has that kind of profound meaning to you, to your family.
Whole culture.
Exactly. And then someone comes along and just completely disrespects it. It's deeply upsetting.
So that's the context for this whole confrontation. You see Somali near the monument, they exchange words, and things escalate pretty quickly.
Ending with you punching Somali.
Really?
You can almost picture it, right? Like these two worlds colliding.
It's like a visual representation of this cultural clash.
You have you, who embodies this culture that places a huge emphasis on respect for elders, for your ancestors, for history.
Right.
And then you have Somali, who's all about pushing boundaries. For views, for attention, who knows?
It's like he's almost playing a character, right? Like this is all just content for him.
And that disconnect is it's jarring.
So now Yu is facing an assault investigation, but get this. He's not backing down at all. He said he acted to defend South Korea's honor.
Wow.
It's not just about personal offense. For him, it's about something much bigger.
So what does that mean for him legally? Like, is defending national honor a valid defense?
That's a really good question. And it's going to be fascinating to see how the South Korean legal system handles this, because you have to factor in the public reaction, which has been, well...
people are really rallying behind him.
Yeah, the online response has been huge.
Selling him a hero, a patriot.
Some are even saying he should get a medal.
Wow. And what about Somali?
People are calling for him to face harsher penalties, saying he's exploiting the idea of free speech.
Right, like he's hiding behind this idea of free speech while completely disrespecting local customs.
And for a lot of people, it feels like he's profiting off of it, like he's intentionally being provocative for attention, for views, for money.
It really highlights that tension between freedom of expression and cultural sensitivity. And it's so tricky because, especially in the digital age, where content can go viral instantly, it's like, where do you draw the line?
Right, because when does free speech cross over into intentionally causing harm or offense?
And who gets to decide that?
Exactly. And then to make things even more complicated, This isn't even Somali's first time causing trouble in South Korea. He was recently indicted for causing a disturbance at a convenience store.
Seriously?
So it does seem like there's a pattern of behavior here.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, like, what's his motivation? Is he really just trying to push buttons, or is this all calculated, like a performance for online attention?
It's a good question. And I think it also says something about us, about how we consume content, how we reward people for grabbing our attention, even if it's for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, it's like, are we all just playing into this?
It's definitely something to think about. So, okay, big question. Where does all this go from here? Will Somali face more legal action? Will you end up being charged with assault?
It's hard to say.
I mean, nobody knows for sure. This one incident has just opened up so many questions about cultural values, individual actions. Like, how do we navigate all of this in a world where we're all so interconnected?
Yeah, it's really complex. It's like this incident is a microcosm of all these larger forces that are at play right now.
And it's definitely given us a lot to think about, especially as we become more and more reliant on these online platforms. It's worth asking ourselves, like, how are they shaping our understanding of other cultures?
Right. Are they making us more empathetic, more open-minded?
Or are they just amplifying existing differences?
And fueling conflict?
What do you think?
I think it's up to us to decide.
I think you're right.